My name is Kelly Clark. I am a professional snowboarder. I'm 38 years old and I live in California.
So I started snowboarding before it was cool. There was no such thing as the X Games. It was long before it was an Olympic sport. I was in a pretty competitive ski racing program at the time, and as a 7-year-old or whatever I was, ironically, I didn't really aspire to that. And so I just saw snowboarding and it looked creative and it looked fun. And I finally skipped enough ski racing practice that my dad stopped paying for it and let me snowboard full time. I just loved it. I never wanted to compete. I knew that I wanted to snowboard more, and I had a dream of being a professional snowboarder. And being on the East Coast, there wasn't a lot of avenues forward to do that apart from competition. And so when I kind of realized that, I thought, okay, if I can do well in competitions, it'll open the door for me to get to snowboard more and kind of have that dream of being a professional snowboarder. I ended up just loving competition. And so even after I had succeeded, and won the Olympics when I was 18 and the US Open and the X Games all in that same year, I actually just never wanted to stop competing. Looking at how I started snowboarding and when I was kind of aspiring to compete, I saw someone who grew up an hour away from me, Ross Powers in Vermont. He won an Olympic medal in Nagano. And I saw that and I thought, okay, so he's just a kid from Vermont, from a small town just like me. He won an Olympic medal. I thought to myself, why not me? Why can't I do that? And I really feel like there's something powerful when you see someone who is just like you. It opens a door for you to do the same thing. And I think creating access for underserved youth, for diversity, will simply play into the next generation of helping people say, oh, I see someone who looks like me. And I can aspire to do this thing, because that's what happened to me. I wanted to make sure that snowboarding was better because I was a part of it. And that's really what I started asking myself about halfway through my career was how can I really make a difference? I had a conversation with one of my friends and he said, hey, I went up to the mountain the other day and I took my 5 kids up there. And he's like, I used to be an instructor. I used to snowboard all the time, but now I'm going to teach my kids. And I just went to get some resources. And he's like, and I was just combing through YouTube and it was just confusing and overwhelming and I couldn't find the right thing. And I was literally having this conversation with him and my brain was just all the gears were clicking into place. And I thought, oh my gosh, I really could do something about this. So I started just kind of exploring that on my social media channels and doing little how-to videos, little 30-second reels, and I just got this really incredible response. And I just thought I really had something, and so I started thinking about doing online tutorials and how I could package that and what it would look like, and that's really where Kelly Clark Snowboarding came from. When I made Kelly Clark Snowboarding, I just thought, where can this really make an impact? And it was almost like a bunch of different pieces of who I was, I'm a nerdy snowboarder who's a great teacher, who knows really good fundamental snowboarding. I built this platform to showcase that. And then I also have this huge desire to make sure snowboarding's better because I was a part of it and create access. So when I looked at that, I looked at Chill and I thought, well, this is just it just checks all these boxes really naturally for me. And it was just a no-brainer. I'm always looking for ways to give back. Snowboarding is a hard sport to learn. It doesn't matter who you are. And when people find out that I'm a pro snowboarder, there's a few different responses that I get. 80% of the time, I have the same conversation over and over with people where they say, I tried snowboarding once and I spent 2 days falling down and I never did it again because it was so hard and I went back to skiing. And I knew that was a problem that needed to change. it's tools like Kelly Clark snowboarding, it's organizations like Chill, it's maybe mountains that start to think about the big picture. Like, I think it's very much people needing to have the idea that we're building something bigger than us and we actually need to like resource the next generation. Like, looking back and growing up, like I never excelled in school. I never really had huge vision for my life and passions in the academic arena, and I didn't have a lot of ways forward. There wasn't a lot of things as a kid that I said, I'm really good at this, I'm really smart, this is a great option for me, until I found snowboarding. And it doesn't have to be snowboarding, it can be anything, but for me it was snowboarding, and it was like this way forward that like rescued me as a dramatic statement, but it was just an outlet for me that kept me focused, gave me a place to set goals, gave me something to point my life at, honestly kept me out of trouble. Like, it was just this thing that if I didn't have it, looking back, I have no idea what I would have done with my life. And I feel like that's why I feel so obligated to give back, is because I'm like, you have no idea how significant and how life-giving this whole standing sideways thing has been for me.